I have no idea if I'm on the quarter note.
All right, Vaedrin. It's about that time. Take it away.
Hello and welcome to Station42, your weekly content and community-focused Star Citizen talk show. Today's show is hosted by the one and only Traz Ion. Say hello, Traz.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And yours truly, the infamously smooth Vaedrin Mallack.
And tonight's Station 42 broadcast supports the global Star Citizen community.
Our partners include the Star Citizen Facebook group known as Ready Player One, largest in the verse. And if you're looking for brilliant in-fiction lore with audiobook quality sound production, stop by sclorecast.com and check out Workbane's latest MVP work.
Oh yeah, his shit. Oh.
Anyway.
Starting off swearing tonight. I'm like, his shit's the bomb.
Oh boy.
It is that kind of show. You don't have to filter too hard. Anyway, lastly, if you're new or a veteran pilot, swing by the community voice comms and flight hub over at discord.me/StarCitizenRP1. It's an absolute great way to interact with the community while representing your org, or relax as a free agent. Details of all the above linked in our show notes.
And speaking of, we've got a wonderful guest tonight, and I'd like to give you the honor to. This is a privilege and a wonderful thing. I get to introduce everybody to Tequila. I don't get to say that often, so thank you. Tequila is a wonderful person, individual, not the alcoholic beverage, as y'all may be familiar with or may not be, but a fellow Star Citizen originally from Texas and killing it all the way in Alaska. She went from cows to bears. She's a Star Citizen for a couple of years now, responsible with a 3 fleet ship, three sizable ships. Tequila is currently flying for cash. Hello, Tequila. It is great to have Tequila with us tonight.
Hello.
Like I said.
So that's Tequila, the person, not the drink, and Cash, the org, not the...
Correct. Although, the puns are going, so...
Right.
She named her Aquila T.
Akila.
Yeah, Tequila.
Get it?
Oh, I get it.
Very nice.
I'm a fan of the puns. The worse, the better. So, anyway, no, it's awesome. So, and I'm a Texas kid myself. I wasn't born and raised per se, but I came here in my late teens, and this has kind of been home ever since. Although I've bounced around the world and around the country a bit, here and there as well. So, yay, Texas!
Yay.
Anyway, so what about this org? I know some of the guys from Cash. So tell us more.
Cash. So I was actually, I had been in Star Citizen for a really long time, but I had never joined an org.
Right.
And so I just went to the forums and I was like, hey, so who's like hiring? And basically Cash was the first one to respond. They're like, yeah, hey, you can join us. And so I joined up, and they're all like really nice and really sweet. So it's nice. A lot of fun to interact with them on Twitter.
Awesome. Do they do the TeamSpeak thing, or have they like a lot of orgs?
Yeah. They'll occasionally they'll do it. I'm not able to participate due to just the whole engineering school thing going on. Yeah, but they do.
Look at you being responsible with your priorities.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, priorities. Yay.
So when you did apply to them, did they have like an application process, or was it pretty much, hey, you want in, you're in?
You filled out a little thing, but basically, nice. As long as you get along, you can join up. No big deal.
Well, that's pretty cool. I mean, I've seen a lot of orgs that have exploded in size because they have that kind of open invite policy, but I myself am more like, I think I would rather like have people vet themselves, because it's important that you're in the right org. It's not even so much, it's not even whether you're right for them, but are they right for you? And it kind of goes back and forth, just like a job, really. Yeah.
So does CASH stand for something like Conservative Association of Strategic Hustlers?
So that sounds.
I mean, I just wondered what's. Okay,
it is an abbreviation, yeah.
Okay. I just wondered what. I always like to hear those little abbreviations. Sometimes they're pretty creative.
Yeah, it's Chimera Assets and Security Holdings.
Yep. Yeah, they have.
I like that. That's nice.
I think the org leader, he's a Million Mile High Club owner, is he not?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, and we've there's a private forum for the owners club, and we kind of try to lobby to get our damn club supported more within the game. But it's such a far, such a far future low priority, but we still care. It was that one stupid little line item that I think suckered those of us who went in big to do that, because you want the one thing that is not going to be able to be easily achieved otherwise. So
exclusive.
Exclusivity.
Well,
Yeah,
I want to be able to run it as a club and not just have it be a room. I want to have some functionality to it so that it can turn into like an actual venue. Imagine having live bands stream their music into StarCitizen. Like, what kind of craziness is that, right?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, I hope. We'll see.
It would be my luck that all the sounds that would come out would sound like something from a triple oscillator.
Yeah.
Burp, 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 burp.
Maybe.
Like what? Like Nintendo? What?
Hey,
So
don't hate on those 8-bit retro sounds.
some of them are okay, but I like them more for a hook or an attention grab than to actually be the entire track. I mean, the only thing that I've ever enjoyed that was 8-bit, and I'm not even sure that it was 8-bit, it might have been 16-bit at the time, was the Sanctuary theme from Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
Oh yeah, I think we all.
I don't know why, but I love that one track.
Those classic, like Final Fantasy 1 or Chrono Trigger, although that's not 8-bit anymore. Chrono Trigger's a little bit like, anyways, whatever. As I geek out on old stuff. So so how do you feel? How do you see yourself interacting in the org as you go forward? Like, are you going to be like hardcore, super invested, or are you just more of a casual player? Like, do you have a play style yet, or is that still kind of waiting for more playtime?
Yeah.
Later?
That's basically, I'm just kind of waiting. So I have my ships are like vastly different from each other, because I have an Avenger, I have a basically a dump truck, right. and then I have the Akila, which is my baby, and so like they all do different things, and so I don't know yet. I'm just kind of waiting for the game to like actually like start like fleshing itself out. Obviously, the plans are there,
right.
But having a plan and then actually. Yeah, but like once you actually start playing, things start changing, and so I think the organization is a lot of fun because it's one of those organizations where it's not bent on just piracy. Right. Like it's like, hey, let's do a job, and I was like, oh, I like that. That's cool. Yeah.
What's your third ship?
It's the Reclaimer.
Oh, okay. I missed that when I guess if you said it. That's
my big dump truck. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. I know, because when you said dump truck, I was like, Avenger dump truck. That's a little small to be a dump truck.
No.
But it does have that little back gate,
Yeah.
Yes, if you're gonna name your Avenger, the dump truck, you need to name it the Fred Sanford. If that was the case, it's like just broken, barely making it. But so what are you hoping to experience? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So, what are you hoping to experience with your org long term? Any kind of goals, or are you just chilling, or?
Right now, I mean, obviously, it's just like making connections and having friends through StarCitizen. In the future, though, I mean, the org is set up in such a way that when I mention jobs, they're going to basically just have this organization to like having jobs and having the people within the organization to have something to do and something really outlined to do. And like I think that's pretty neat, because a lot of the people in the organization have basically an entire fleet of their own, and so there's no lack of jobs. Like, you want to work somewhere else, go for it. You want to like man up and go join someone else's crew, you can, or have them join yours. So I think it's pretty cool.
I think that's a challenge. Cool. A lot of the most vocal and active backers are, of course, the ones who've been with it kind of since the beginning, and so that we've all started with one ship and then it slowly grew and now it's ridiculous, right? I mean, even like 3 ships may not sound like many to people who have a lot of ships, but honestly, for a first time, for any backer, that's still a tremendous amount of ships. Like the Reclaimer is huge.
Yeah,
huge. It's so massive. It makes the other Corvettes look like delicate,
Exactly.
And anyhow,
it's a delicate beast.
So anyways, but so what's that, Vaedrin? You're rolling on?
Oh no. We're
Okay.
going to go ahead and head up into
Jump
the
into the
topics
topics.
for the
All
night.
right. All
That's
right.
she's already kind of answered this
Yeah.
one question: how active or passive are you?
Right.
And she
Right.
said, "Well, I'm in college."
Yeah.
That pretty much sums it up.
No. It's that, that is a long endeavor. The path that you're taking. So I
I mean, I can thank Star Citizen for it, basically. So
really. Well.
yeah.
Huh. Okay.
So I
Well.
didn't
Very
pick my
nice.
major actually until I started playing Star Citizen. It's sort of like a plinko of like decision
No
making where I
kidding.
kind of went like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing to, what, space is really cool. I really liked it all my life to, what, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do the
That is
thing. And so,
awesome.
Video
You
games,
need to
video
like.
games have influenced a lot of people over the years in technology, and so it doesn't
It's
surprise me.
yeah. It
yeah.
sparks the imagination. Like you need to like. I don't know how you would tell CIG that, or if they'd even, you know what I mean. Like, that's so cool. That's
Yeah.
that's that's more than just I don't know. It's not you're like yeah I don't play that often, but I just want to let you know that
Hi,
like my
yeah, Chris.
major
Yeah,
is
you
this
picked my major.
because you know.
Because you made a really great space game. Thank you for the passion. Yeah, I don't
Right,
know.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
fun.
no, sure.
Yeah, oh
So,
yeah.
so anyway, so this week our topics we'll be digging into a collection of topics covered by the month in the monthly report. So if you're on top of school, I don't know how much you keep up with like the monthly report or any of that craziness. Do you check in and
Not too much.
okay.
I mean, I try to like get surprised so that when we have like the Star Citizen Con and like
Yeah,
some
yeah.
videos drop, I get
It
really
blows you
excited.
away. Yeah.
So yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I didn't actually pick out every single line item because there's a lot, but I did. I pulled some of the ones that were interesting to me. Vaedrin may have and added his own topics, or if there's anything you want to talk about in general. We're not slaves to the Google Notes or anything. So, anyways, so one of the first things that I caught that I thought was particularly interesting is they said that Microtech and Hurston are they're getting their blueprints designed, and so that's opening up work for the other departments. So for me, I think that's a good thing because now it's going from just art and pictures and a lore concept to they're actually starting to break those down and hand those out to the different teams to start knocking out whatever custom animations, custom environments, custom effects, and all of that. That means it's doing that tentative and yet most important step of taking it from a good idea to actually making it into something, and I think with 3.0 being on the horizon and us wanting it so bad, like we need it, it's yeah. Have you guys I don't know, yeah, excited?
Ay. Give me
Well,
just 1 second.
was it Microtech is the ice planet, I believe, and then Hurston. I don't remember what Hurston is. I know Crusader is the one where it's the Sky City basically. So we'll get a little Lando Calrissian action there, which is who doesn't love Lando.
Of course.
But yeah, so that's interesting. I mean, I guess that's not so exciting for everybody. Apparently,
I
you guys
was.
aren't that
I,
excited about my thing.
I I'm that excited about our guest. I'm trying to like get on the Facebook, trying to say, hey, look, Station42
Oh, you're
is
too late,
live with
man.
Tequila. Well, I'm doing it anyway. I want to make sure that they
Should have done
know.
it earlier. No, but
Oh, whatever.
yeah, no. So, oh, well, okay. So next topic. Let's see the Trade Slayer system. That one sounds pretty good to me. It's they're talking about like an end-to-end economic model of how items go from say like being mined like if you're going to mine the resources, then they get shipped to a place and they get created into an item, and then that item gets shipped off to another place where it's put into the inventory so that you could go up and buy like a component. So like that whole process, what's interesting to me about that is for a long time, like thinking about the economics, it would be interesting if they had like a kind of semi-closed system, meaning that you didn't just like in most MMO games or most big role-playing games or whatever, the economy slowly gets bloated over time. You get mudflation or whatever they call it, because everybody can go out and earn gold. It's unlimited. You need gold, just kill monsters until you get more gold, and then so no matter what,
Uh,
eventually money no longer means anything. And you've seen that in games like Diablo. You've seen it in games like Ultima and EverQuest and WoW and everything else. So but so, so in the way they're always trying to combat that is by like having armor repair costs or this cost or whatever. They're trying to pull money back out of the economy. But if they do a system like this where, say the amount of ore that's in the universe versus how much is in production is how much is in ships is all kind of static, then as more ships get destroyed, I don't know. Like, it'll be interesting. It's exciting to see those kind of economies come online because we haven't had anything like it yet.
Economics is interesting. What's going to happen is that some people are going to find out that in the launch of the game, this one particular item is going to be worth a large amount of credits. So they're going to go in, they're going to start farming those, and everybody they're going to tell their friends. And the end result of that is going to be that eventually the price is going to completely plummet due to the overstock supply. So really what it means is that the people that are actually doing all the trading and mining and all that stuff are going to have to do this dreaded fiscal thing, this dreaded financial tip that everybody always hears from a stockbroker: diversify. You're going to have to do that, because if you do not do that, you're going to, like, okay, so you're going to, like, say that you're mining metal and you're making pistols. You're going to have so many pistols, and you're not going to have enough buyers for them. People are just going to sit there. Yeah, I'll take it. I'll give me a credit of 5. It's okay. Just put, here's 20 credits. Here, thank you.
It'll be interesting if you see people like try to stock up on them, though. They've talked about like being able to load things into your hangar. So if it fits in your hangar, you can store it there. You don't have to have a special box that says storage only. So can you imagine the pack rats that have like their hangar completely packed full of?
I can imagine getting a concussion, tripping, and landing into a whole box of grenades because of the gravity going out all of a sudden, and then I'm just sitting there floating with live munitions, just kind of orbiting slowly around in my chamber. Yeah, that would be fun. It's like, I don't think I'll be using that hangar anymore, but it's damn secure. Good luck getting in.
So what about you, Tequila? Like, you said that you were interested in Cash because they offered more than just the typical idea of like piracy. They're more like I guess job focused, so more like legitimate employment, like jobs, missions, things like that. Like what part of that is most appealing to you?
Well, I mean, like, so the Trade Slayer seems really interesting, and I mean, because I hadn't actually heard of that system before, I didn't realize that they were going to be that specific for each item.
Yes.
But I suppose like they're gonna stimulate the economy by because each ship has a year, and so as ships come out, as they're new, right, they're gonna change items. So I think that's really cool, and I think that that's going to make like organizations like Cash kind of dynamic, because like as the in-game economy changes and as these new things come out, we're going to have to shift and go, okay, well, like the reclaimer is no longer any good. Like we need to go after this other thing. And right. I actually think
I hope that
cool.
They don't do that too much. I hope that the reclaimer, for what it is still going to be a highly effective,
I think that's a concern everybody has. I know that they've talked about it would be cool if you had like models like the 2000 or the 2948 is new and cool, it's the new hotness, everybody wants it. But the thing is if you run into a thing where every year they release the same ship in a different model, and that new ship is now actually better than the older ship, that's going to run into the whole pay to win, and so hang on. So the thing is they have a very fine line to walk that, because I think we all do like that idea, but what they're going to have to do is when they release these new models, those ships are going to have to be different but not better. If that makes sense.
Should be. Okay, so the common problem with games is it's so easy just to simply make something so much better so quickly. With technology, you're faced with like, for example, automobile industry. That's what we're basing this off of. If you go and you look at a 1950s car, it's not going to be anything near a car in the 90s or a car from 2016, for example. They're worlds apart. But if you look at a car from, if you look at a car, well, no. Older vehicles might be more more tankish, might be more heavy, might have a larger metric. You got to think about it in terms of the automotive industry. Your ability to get to a finer degree of metal, a finer degree of calibration, is a lot tighter. Everything's done with actual calipers. They're not actually done with any kind of lasers or anything. So everything is bigger, clunkier, slower, not less efficient, but
You
maybe
know,
more durable. So
there's a
it's
point
it's
where
it's a rule of decimals. It's a rule of decimals. So the model next year should be very minutely improved that you would never be able to feel it from one year to the next. But the beginning ships should feel very different from the end ships towards the very end of the game. That's what I'm
maybe.
saying.
I mean,
That way, that
that
way,
might make sense from a simulation standpoint, but there's also the rule of cool. There's the whole, it's got to be fun first, and it's got to be fair. So I mean, it has to make a difference in the game
well,
environment. If it's they're not going to do it
so
unless it benefits the pleasure of the game. If it if
well,
it has to
oh
contribute
yeah,
to
it
the
will.
game's positive experience. If it's just you feel like you're running into a grind because every single year they're releasing a new model of the Hornet and you can't keep up because it's ridiculous.
But
I mean, they don't want to turn it
it's such a
into keep.
it's such a tiny increase, though, is what I'm talking about.
Oh,
For
maybe.
example, see, in the car manufacturers, they don't actually put out a brand new revision model.
Sure,
Like
sure.
from the 2001s to the 2004 Mustangs, they all look the same. Well, 2005 Mustang came out; it had a completely different look. It might have had a completely different internals, but it's such a very small thing. So just a little bit of increments is what I'm saying for the models of the ships. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead. The shopping kiosk, GDG, to create mock-ups and how that system would be interacted with the Herald Hoplite and finished in the, you know, what would you think about the shopping kiosk? That's an interesting one to me.
Who, the Dumpers Depot?
Yeah, I could definitely go for that.
I haven't actually heard anything about the shopping kiosk.
They
Traz?
sure. What they're talking about, like with item 2.0, it's this kind of, it's not a super sexy in your face thing like the ships. It's kind of more the databasing behind the scenes, and it's going to be the thing that lets so many different game mechanics function once we go to 3.0. So item 2.0 is what it's dubbed. It's did you remember? Did you ever hear the ghost system? It was like GOST or whatever. It was how the ships were state aware, so that way the ship would know if your ladder was open or your ladder was closed. Because you have all these different components on your ship that can be in different states simultaneously. And it was
Okay.
how okay, right. So that system was temporary, and it's getting dumped. So this new item 2.0 system is going to be allow all of the ship systems to work together, which means all of the subcomponents. Like right now, you can remove shields, you can put shields in, you can remove weapons, you can put weapons in, and you can do this with coolers, you can do this with power plants, and all of that makes like zero difference. It's great. You can equip them, unequip them. It makes no difference in the game effectively, right? And so that's obviously not the end state. So item 2.0 is the first real step or the first implementation of the more comprehensive system that's going to be the long-term product. And it's going to tie into everything from the stuff you're wearing on your body that you can unequip and put in pockets and draw your weapon, or getting into the spaceship, or stowing your gear into the ship, and it keeping dynamic track of all of these different existing states.
Okay.
So it's big. It's so big, yet it is so not the sexiest thing that people talk about because it's not pretty and spaceshipy. But yeah, so I'm excited. And the
So
kiosk
it
the
is
kiosk is for
so it's like
is
Spectrum, but for ships.
sort of the kiosk is our first ability to buy in-game components that are too large. Like we can carry our weapons when we buy them, we can put on our clothes when we buy them, but we can't carry a giant shield generator out to our ship when we buy it. So it's basically going to be, you walk up to Dumpers Depot, you go to a kiosk, you select from all their stuff, you hit buy, and it's delivered to your inventory, and then later on when you kit out your ship.
Okay.
So yeah, but
Oh, yeah, that actually sounds really good. That is a big endeavor. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's that kind of stuff that's actually what keeps the patches like out of the way. Like it's part of the stuff that takes so long because it's probably super ridiculously time intensive, because when they've talked about the engineering side of it, how it's all nested items, so like this item has like 10 items under each, and each one of those items has like 7, and then those items all have like 3, 4, and 5, and it's batshit crazy, right?
Yeah, wow.
So I'm sure
So, what do you think about the Akila art?
oh,
Beautiful.
those tinted windows, man.
I
I saw that. I was like,
know!
oh, be
He's like,
still, my
"It's
beating heart.
Exactly. Got like little sunglasses. Oh, I love it though. It's so pretty.
Tinted windows with sunglasses. Oh man.
I and I'm super glad too, because like when they sold the Akila to begin with, they talked about, oh, the bridge is this round bridge and it has super high visibility. You want to know what the truth was? Like I parked the Phoenix, I parked the Akila, I parked the Andromeda, the Taurus, all in my hangar, and I went into each of them. And first of all, well, 3 of them have they have the same nose. So really, you're just comparing the one to the other. So I compared, the Akila didn't have good visibility in its stock. Like it looked cool, but realistically, from the inside where you sat, your visibility was more obstructed than it was in the Phoenix, or in the in the angular one. So, but looking at the new front end, oh, it's so sexy. It looks like it'll actually work. Yeah, it actually.
I like
looks
the
like
color
good
scheme
visibility.
too.
Well, orange is a good color.
Oh yeah,
It seems
I
to be
like the color
the
scheme. Sorry.
exploration color. You got that on like the Origin 315 Papa. But so, of your 3 ships, which one was your first one that you bought?
Oh, none of the above.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, actually, so I think the first one I ever really bought was that limited edition police ship. I forget the Cutlass.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
Cutlass Blue.
Cutlass blue.
Cutlass Blue, yeah, and I got it because I was like, it has a baton, and I was like really excited about the baton. And then I was like, oh wait, but the Avenger looks like an orca. That's adorable, and it also has people pods, and so I needed that one as well. And so
It sounds like you're a closet bounty hunter.
I am.
Oh,
So
all right, all right.
really, really like the idea of just like putting people in the little people cells and just keeping them back there. And
Collecting
so,
people like tokens.
yeah, exactly. Just
Like,
have
come here.
them there. And so I had those, and then I was like, I really want the Akila though, because I saw that trailer, and I was, that's what I love. I love exploration. I love science. I love, discovery. And that ship was like, hey, that's what we do. And so I was like, yes, please. And so I went ahead and I melted them down. And I got that one. And then I was like, but I don't. Now I don't have my people pods, and so, I lived with it for that. I was just like, fine, I'll live with it. And then
there should be. I'm hoping that all of the ships that have like the big bays, like the Constellations, will have enough modularity that you'll be able to convert. I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah,
want to run
Starfare.
Out, run,
Starfare should be a bounty hunter prison ship. I got you.
That no, that's where you just liquidate your prisoner assets and then store them in the.
It's like
in the
here,
containers.
where are they at? Oh, they're in the tanks.
No.
What?
Perfect.
Soylent Green. What? Ugh.
No, but I can imagine using the Constellation as a bounty hunter ship. It's always been kind of a multi-use platform, and even the Akila is still just a kit variation of the core ship. So I mean, it's going to have a lot of versatility. So.
If they put people pods, I could explore and then take the people I found and put them in the pod, and so just keep the whole theme going.
We're stealing that phrase from now on. Just so you know, you have shaped Station42. People pods for life.
Yes. So boy. That would be fun.
I know where I'm going to wind up at.
Well, see, that's why I went ahead and got the Reclaimer, because I started with people pods. Yes, and so that's what happened. So I started with the people pods, and I was like, but there's ship pods now, because you can just doop, and you got it, and you put them in. And so I was like, well, wouldn't it be funny if you get a ship with lifetime insurance, and you put people in the people pods, and then you put the ship in the Reclaimer, and you just sort of have this Russian doll of just being awful, I guess.
Nesting doll.
Yeah.
Let's see what you do.
Man. She says she wants to be a legit pilot. I'm getting this slaver like
No,
Slave One
it's
vibe. Like somebody's a Boba Fett fan, I think maybe.
this reclaimer just kind of like rolls up into a Genesis Starliner and starts eating people, and as it's doing it, it's sucking them up into all custom-made people pods that she can
Yeah.
go and like ferry back and forth with her adventure.
Well,
So like, there's a whole here.
the claw on the front end of the Redeemer or the Reclaimer does look kind of like the aliens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're gonna use it to arm wrestle other reclaimers to claim territory. But
Oh
once you
no,
once you claim that territory,
I was gonna,
Oh
I was
my
gonna like,
god. Redeemer arm
gonna,
wrestling competitions.
I was
We're
gonna
going
go
to
like,
have Sadaball, we're going to have the
or
Murray
something.
Cup racing,
Yeah,
and then we're going to have Redeemer arm wrestling competitions.
yes.
Nice.
speaking of using a claw and throwing things around and arm wrestling, rotating asteroids. So physically accurate and the light is correct. Yeah. Yes, please, and more. Thank you. Okay, next. That was quick. See, you get that.
No, so they were talking about like um, giving asteroids spin in space. I didn't know that they were working on that, but that sounds pretty badass. Like
Yeah, that actually sounds really
I want to be
cool.
able to.
you can blow
I
up
keep.
some of the
I
small ones in Arena
want to be
Commander.
able
I don't know if you've played around with that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I played with that.
to push them though. I want to be able to like take the nose of an Aurora LN and just get this giant ass rock and just like
Push.
slowly build up enough speed to just like go and like chunk it at something.
To
Well, it's
That
kind of
end
just
would be
like,
me.
planets.
is that like the spaceship equivalent to a dung beetle? You're kind of like just
Yeah,
moving it
basically,
along.
you're taking that giant turd of an asteroid and you're chunking it onto a Bengal or something. You've got a target in mind. It's just going to take you 10 years to get there. Eventually, you're going to make it.
Right.
Just get the momentum. You got it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like then eventually you're going to roll up into quantum and it's a done deal. It's like you have a doomsday device right there. It's like don't even need a nuke. Don't even need like global warming or any of that. Just chuck a rock at them. Done deal.
Oh,
Next.
yeah, that'd be fun. Just put one on a
I just,
rotation.
I know that they'd ask questions. I remember the
Could we?
fans were asking questions about like planetary orbital defenses and things like that. It would be really cool if you
You just
pushed
chuck
an
a rock at it.
asteroid into like what would be a collision course. You had like laser fire from below,
Just just comes up.
death from below, just boom. Oh man, that would be just spectacular.
There's so many other pranks that you could play with that though. Like there could be like this little like prospector ship that's latched onto the asteroid, and if you can influence the spin, you could actually start to rotate the asteroid faster and faster and faster. And so eventually, whenever he manages to look up, he realizes that he's like spinning 17 times a second. You're like, what the hell's going on? I mean,
Yeah.
I have too
For,
many
for
things I
every
want to
for
try.
every prank that we can think of to play in the
It's a thousand
in
more.
the immersively in the verse, I'm sure that there would have been protections against such abuses. Obviously you're not going to be able to crash asteroids into planets. There's
Oh,
they would never be like, oh, we didn't think of that.
Oops.
oops. They wouldn't. They wouldn't have a oops moment.
So
No, never.
so I mean I guess you've got to be pretty stoked then because the final art on the Akila is done.
Beautiful. Yes.
So
Oh,
it's just a
very
matter of
excited about it.
I can't wait till we start actually seeing that in. So and then you said you owned a Cutlass, so I mean I guess you got rid of it, but I mean and that was your first ship, so that's like a love affair there. I mean
I know, and I felt real bad about that because that was my first kind of foray into StarCitizen, and I was just like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I didn't realize that it was a limited edition at all.
oh, that's a
So I
bummer.
was like, oh, I'm just and I was just bouncing around, and then I realized later, and I was like, oh,
Well, it should be in your buyback list, or
it might be.
or did
I
you
haven't.
CC? Oh, that's easy to check. Whenever you have a moment, jump into your RSI account, go to like my hangar or accounts, whatever, and there'll be like buyback right under, and you can
Interesting.
check everything in there. So, yeah.
Okay.
And if
Oh
you
yeah, I might be able to get him back then.
Yep. And if you buy it back with cash, then it retains its giftability and everything else, and like LTI and all that good stuff. And then I think you can buy back with credits, like RSI credits, if you were to melt something else for whatever reason,
Oh, okay.
like once per quarter. So you get like a token every 3 months or whatever it is. And
Okay.
but yeah, no. So it could technically be on the menu still.
Yeah.
And let's see. Sweeping balance changes for the flight model. Shields and ship weapons have kept us extremely busy, he meant to say.
What? Right?
You
Don't gotta
forgot a why.
you don't gotta read it straight up. Well, like, see, and the thing is you guys can talk about that. I can't talk about that because I'm technically one of the testers.
Oh.
So no, I
Skip.
can't. No, it's not a
I
skip. Like those changes are what that was a direct quote from the monthly report. That's why I put it in there. But basically, that's what we're testing. So it's the stuff we're doing.
which he's not supposed to tell us about,
Well,
which he just told us.
no, I can't tell you the specifics. But I mean,
You can't.
yes,
You
testing is
can't.
happening.
You said
What?
you can't tell me the Pacifics.
Yes.
Yeah, the
No.
What?
Pacifics.
No Pacific.
No
But Ben
Pacifics. All
knows.
right. Well, damn it. Eh, boy.
Anyway,
Mission content for Crusader, including many secrets.
well, those are their words in the monthly report. So I mean, obviously, I'm super excited for more content. I mean, I guess 2.6 is going to give us some new content, but because the netcode hasn't been refactored, we have so much lag and desync that I think they don't want to add too much new content because that just exacerbates the problem until they get the net code done. But it sounds like from the monthly report, they're actually working on streamlining some things. So who knows? Maybe we'll see improvements even with new content. Or maybe it'll just be about the same because new content's plus, I don't know.
There are secrets.
And they're taunting us
Next,
with secrets, yes.
yeah, so there's nothing I can really go with that. I mean, it's like, do I get to have like a Miles Eckhart bobblehead like actually dangling in my? Is that the secret? Because I mean, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. It's like, do I get to like, hey, I know a secret. What's the secret? I ain't telling you. Well, gee, thanks. Well,
So,
what?
So, Tequila, I know you were saying that, like, you don't follow too closely because, school takes up a lot of your time, majority of your time. But you did say that you played a little bit in Arena Commander. Have you played in the Persistent Universe any, like just the regular universe? I mean, do you fly every now and then just to, come back to it and reinvigorate?
I will occasionally. I'll post like little videos of Twitter on Twitter of me doing that.
Nice.
But I the last time I was there, so flight controls kind of changed, and I totally forgot how to land the ship.
Yeah.
And so I sort of I came up and I was like, I don't know how to do this. And then I crashed into the platform and I was like, well, that's not how you do that. And so I got the Constellation back and I just parked it above the platform and I just left it floating there because, like, whatever. And I went down and I looked up and somebody was like flying up and just took it and left. And I was like, oh, yeah, that was probably my bad. I shouldn't have left it parked hovering above the platform. But yeah, I'll go in occasionally just to see because I love to walk around the little the ship port.
Yeah.
Like, I just think that's really neat. But then able to jump to like the various stations or like the interest points are really cool. And I really like there was one that's like this derelict place and it's just super cool.
Kovalex?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
it's
god,
super
the
cool.
first time I did the mission there, I'm like, aliens are going to jump out at me. This is going to be great. I mean, I know they're not yet, but someday. Someday. Oh, it's just, it's fantastic. Have you explored Grimhex? Have you been out to the less regulated spaceport?
No.
Oh my gosh, it's
No.
awesome. Well, if you get the hankering to jump out there, it's actually a lot easier than people make it out to be. You can do the long way where you jump to Yella and just go exploring for it. So I don't want to spoil it.
Okay.
That is a really fun way to do it, but if you want to just get like pretty much quickly to it, you can basically do this trick where you jump past Yella, cancel your jump, then turn around and jump straight back to Yella. You know what I mean? Like, you know how you can jump into free space? You don't have to jump to an interest? Yeah. And you just jump past Yella, count to 3, cancel your jump, turn around, jump back to Yella, and then look around, and it should be within like a 20, 30 second, cruise. So
Or you could just curb stomp some LN floating around near a hangar with
no,
your
that is
giant.
cheating. Big old.
That is not cheating.
That is cheating.
That is
No,
the
no one would
quickest
willingly
and the most
kill
efficient.
themselves to.
You've known me for how long?
Yeah. Anyways,
Uh,
but
oh boy.
yeah, no. So
Well,
I guess they talked about new asteroid tech that vastly improves the rings around Yella. Tweaking the station security, I'm guessing for Grimhex, because right now Grimhex, you'll have people who sit there and troll the platforms, just blowing up ships, so you can't get out. It doesn't usually last very long, and half the time, if they let me out, then I chase them down and make them really regret it. But because
yep.
then they spawn at Grimhex, and then I don't let them go. But let's see. Yeah, I don't know.
Remember,
So
he's the nice guy. Remember this. He's the nice guy. Remember this?
I'm the guy that you want on your team when it's push come to shove. Anyway, no. Yeah, and apparently they improved the wreck sites too. So there's a couple of interesting derelicts floating around in Yella, and always fun to go hunting for because they're hard to find.
Oh, that'd be fun, yeah.
Yeah, but
So, how about the missile
the
memory?
Cubs.
No, 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 no. There was a so what where did I read that at? I guess it just disappeared on me. Anyway, persistent missile inventory between deaths, pickups, and pirate swarm rebalance.
Yeah,
In
yeah,
addition to all the great, wonderful sauce that the monthly report bought us.
yeah. They're talking about that for Inside Arena Commander, I think. So
Yeah, that's correct. That's what that is. The but okay, so we had like some wonderful insight brought to us, but the Hornet Free Fly and the dreaded, notorious discount.
did you follow any of that? Did you see the recent? They had the Hornet was on a free fly for a while for anybody, right? So it's
Hmm.
awesome. And then recently they brought it back on sale post the thing, and they did it for a cash discount, which so it's a little bit of a drama. It's a little bit of like Reddit
A
and
little
the RSI forums
bit.
and the Facebook were all blowing up with it because
Oh.
people are kind of pissed because the cash discount, if you bought it with cash as opposed to your previous money, was cheaper than if you'd ever bought it before. And we from farther back we have assurances from Chris Roberts that ships were you know you would get them at their cheapest point when you first bought them, so they wouldn't go
Mm.
down in price. um, anyway, so like it's just caused I don't know if that was something that you had an opinion on.
I actually hadn't been aware that that was a thing. So basically, you bought it for cash again, and it was on sale.
Well,
If
usually when they say on sale, it just means that it's for sale again. They've
I
never
see.
actually had the first time
a
that they've done
discount sale.
the first time they've actually done a price reduction, specifically if you purchase in cash as opposed to using money that you've already spent on the account, was so I don't know. Like there's we don't have to talk about that now. We talked about that in the pre-show. So like if you're not following it, then don't sweat it.
It's well, it's interesting. Like it's sort of a catch-22 at that point if you think of game development, because you have every ship that we buy, we're buying into the game.
Right.
We're just saying, hey, we really want to play your game, please make it.
Right.
And so when they lower a ship like that, it's like I if they did that for like the Reclaimer or any of the ones I own, like it's like, well, I don't know if I would personally necessarily feel robbed due to the fact that I gave the money
Right.
hoping that they would just make the game. Like
Well,
that's why I gave it to them.
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's
Sure.
I'm not
I,
really
I
buying the ship. I'm just buying into hoping that the game gets made,
Right.
and getting a
well,
ship, in response.
That's
So
that's that's a pretty fair assessment, and there are a lot of people that share that opinion, and I can see the value of that because I too, I've the money I've spent in has been about the development, but on the flip side of it, like Chris Roberts said specifically that the benefit of being an early backer is that you'd never get the chips at a lower price than when you bought it at the beginning, because it was so important to raise the
well,
development funds that those were the words that they used to get people to buy now as opposed to waiting. Because
right.
why would I buy early if I can wait until they're desperate and sell it for less? And
well.
even hang on, even Ben Lesnick
mm,
had a long post like from like a year ago where he was like specifically like said we would never sell chips for less than whatever because that would that would be bad for the economy. It would devalue the ships, and like basically like strong words. And like what is so like I was a little blown away by this, not because like I believe that CIG. I want them to have the room to make mistakes. I want them to have the room to try different things and then change their mind if it doesn't work. I'm just hoping that this is one of those things that they're like, that didn't work. Let's not do that again because, yeah, like it was kind of BS. You don't like when somebody invests money in something, you don't expect to come back 3 years later and find that they've reduced the value of whatever you got. And it's not a 1-for-1 correlation to like, buying a vehicle and you drive it off the lot and immediately depreciates, because not a single one of the vehicles that we have, whether flyable or still in concept like some ships, are 100%. Like all the flight models aren't solid. They're not at a release state. So until they're at a release state, the reason that they let us melt chips and use RSI funds that we've previously put in to swap our digital assets around is because we're basically, if they didn't have that, you wouldn't have the confidence to buy those ships. I mean, right now, like if you have $500 invested, you know that if your ship gets released and you fly it, you're like, ooh, this isn't what I wanted. I thought it was, but it's not. You can switch it, because we're buying ships based on words and pictures, and they're not even flyable yet. So you have to have that freedom. So I feel like if CIG needed fresh cash, the right thing to do would be to generate new content or whatever that would generate that new cash and bring in new backers, not use something like that would basically try to milk your already existing constituent.
Before I lose my thought,
yeah.
Before I lose my thought, I wanted to say that it's you have to look at what they're doing though. If you wanted to say like if the ship was an Aurora or a Mustang lineup ship, that would be well within the scope of beginner. I'm not talking like the Delta or the specialty Auroras. If they were selling an MS and an Alpha for a sharply cut discount, then the argument could be made that they were trying to attract more people.
Sure, and
that would be a great and wonderful thing, and that would be more acceptable. But what they did that to is they did that to what many still consider to be a premier ship.
It is,
which is the Super Hornet, and so that's really where probably there's a lot of angst. If they would have done that to an MS, people would kind of just, oh well, we understand they're trying to get new people.
It's one of those things too. Like, if it's on a concept sale, then that's the first time it's sold. So obviously, it's at its cheapest. But I mean, I guess that could be the discount. Why call it a discount if it's just the price it's at? So I don't know. Like, right, there were just some things about the sale that didn't make sense. So it's the next LTI debate. It's like, anyhow, but we don't need to sit on that. I mean, the community's talking a lot about it. I was just curious if you'd had an opinion, and thank you for thinking about it and giving an opinion. Even if you're not if you haven't been following the mess of it, because it's good to hear, basically an opinion is relevant. You don't have to be super experienced for your opinion to be relevant, because that's perfect, because you represent the exact segment of the backer population that you represent. Each of us represent that. That's why it's the whole idea that it's not how much money you spent, because each of us are only individuals, so we're each going to have our own one opinion, and that opinion is worth exactly that. So I mean, assuming it's formed or based on some rational thought. So
guest interview.
It's mostly mine are just the cost of because I mean the thing about StarCitizen is it's kind of doing something that no one else does, which is hey, we're gonna promise you an MMO, and it's hey, we're also gonna let you play it right now. And so server space is incredibly expensive, and so when they're yeah, we need to bring in more people, I'm yeah, sure, because I really want the game to be made. So I mean that's just my personal opinion. I know I could understand how people might feel gypped.
Yeah.
But coming from my personal standpoint, I just want the game to be made. Yeah, bring in more people. Who cares? Let's go. Let's do it. So
just
more is better.
Yeah.
I take it you watched the CitizenCon stream?
Yes. Yeah.
Just do it. Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So guest interview.
Oh yeah, sure, of course. So so the aerospace engineering. Oh my. Tell us
Mechanical
more.
with an emphasis
Yes,
on
yes,
aerospace. Yeah, it's a thing. So it's a lot of fun actually. I didn't know what I was getting into necessarily when I first got into it because it sounds really good on paper, and then you get into it and you're like, oh my god, like, whoo, math, this is great, and so it's a lot of fun. But like I think what's kind of amazing about the college scene, I didn't really realize this about university, but like a lot of like especially for STEM right now is a lot of organizations are like, hey, if you have an idea, we're gonna fund you if you apply for it, and it's like, oh, okay. And so like I said, StarCitizen was kind of one of the influences that got me into it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I really like spaceships. Let me kind of like apply to see if I can, make one. And so I did this little project over the summer as a research grant for putting a drone on Mars. And so that was a lot of fun. It just felt like a lot of application of like, like, oh, this is really cool to, oh, I'm actually like doing this, and right. So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it failed, but it was a lot of fun. So like that's I think that's part of the process. So
I could never really get past Kirchhoff's theorem, so I think I'll pass on the mathematics. Thank you. Oh man, trinomials are not my friend. Anyway, so how long do you have to go?
For the degree?
Yes, ma'am.
It depends on the school. Currently, at this particular school, it's 3 years, but at the school I'm transferring to, it's 2. So kind of because of when classes are available and when they're not available.
And then you gotta bounce into the into the
into space
program, and then on and on and on.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. Like when I get my bachelor's, I do want to get a doctorate at some point. Although why, I'm not quite sure. I just think it'd be cool to be Dr. Tequila. I think it would be hilarious.
But like, do you prescribe tequila for?
Not a medical doctor, so I can't say. But I think that'd be really cool. I'm kind of jonesing for SpaceX though, because I'm like, ooh, like a lot of the stuff I'm doing research in is directly related to SpaceX, and I'd be like, ooh, that'd be kind of cool.
If you say that fast, it completely sounds other than what you actually said. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that. Thank you, Traz.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well,
for once, I
knew what she was talking about because my question that I was waiting to ask was, so are you going to go to work for Elon Musk?
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like Elon is like the biggest, like, he could be like a villain or he could be Iron Man. We don't really know because he's great, and it's just funny. Yeah. Just like
what I would like to see, and this is like if you've got the funds, if you got the time, if you got the freedom to do so, go ahead and buy one of those little StarCitizen constellation drones, and actually make your own custom drone out of it, using the little constellation model.
Oh, that'd be cute.
And actually fly that around and like you have like a little webcam on it saying, "Hi, this is Tequila, and I'm flying my ship."
Yeah, it just that would be super cute.
So,
do you ever get questioned? Forgive me, I have to say this. Do you ever get questioned about having tequila in the car?
No, I don't. I just get a lot of jokes.
I was gonna say, like, I had a few, and then I was like, you know what? I'm sure she's heard every possible joke.
Certainly, but at the same time, I think it's all in how you take it, right?
So do you like the name, or do you quietly
I love
curse
my
the
name.
parents?
So I love my name. I think Tequila is a hilarious name. Yeah. Like I love it. I think it's hilarious. It's a bit of a misnomer in that I don't actually like alcohol, like at all. Like I never developed a taste for it.
Right.
But like, I mean, wine is okay, but it's not like, it doesn't draw me. So people are like, oh, do you like tequila? And it's like, no. I mean, I like tequila about as much as I like, isopropyl, like rubbing alcohol, and that, it's probably useful to clean out wounds, but that's about it. I mean, that's how I feel.
I understand.
Sadly, thing is I actually think I have a good taste for tequila and Coke. Actually, that's my thing. But that's, I never cared for the straight stuff. So, speaking of SE, tell us your story. How did you get into it? What's the circumstances? How did you get drawn in?
I had heard like rumors actually prior to even buying a ship that somebody was, pitched the idea of the game, and I was like, that's cute. It's never gonna happen. And then like later on, I moved up here to Alaska, and somebody was like, "Hey, have you heard of StarCitizen?" I was like, "Sounds familiar." And so they gave me the link to the website, and I was looking around, and of course I just got like super geeked for it, because I was just like, oh man, this is like all of my stuff, because I love Star Trek, like I love space, I love like anything to do with it. And so like I was like, man, I could have my own space boat, like this is awesome, and I want my own space boat. And so that's kind of what started it. It's just like, hey, this exists, and it's like, oh dude, it does exist. And then like I started playing it because I had a free weekend before I even bought a ship. I was just kind of like doing the arena commander thing, and I was like, "Oh, this is great!" And so now I'm like a proud owner of like a HOTAS and like 3 ships. It's like, oh man.
That was the question going through my mind when you started talking. I was like, "Oh, please tell me you're not a dirty mouser."
I gotta have the experience.
What rig do you fly right now?
With the HOTAS, it's just the little Mad Catz one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little X55, I think.
Nice. Are you gonna grow into pedals later?
Probably. The thing is, I love cars. So anything that makes it seem real, anything that makes it like I'm actually piloting, this vehicle.
And the funny thing is people always focus on getting a stick first for their main hand, and then they think about getting a throttle. Then eventually, maybe they think about pedals. It's completely the wrong way. You could live with a mouse for aiming. Definitely. I still like flying stick better, but it's still accurate, and even if it's not perfect, anyway, whatever. But I find that the order of importance for devices that you want to like upgrade is actually like pedals and throttle first, because like pedals, like I set my toe brakes, not this part. Like this part's for roll, but I set my toe brakes just like a car, right for gas, left for brake, for space brake. It lets me fly and decoupled amazingly, so I fly my spaceship like a spaceship. And then for the throttle on the left hand, just the most important thing that you do with that is if you go throttle or if you go dual stick, whatever you do, you want to make sure that you have good analog control of your strafe up, down, left, right. So whatever throttle you get, you got to find one that has a good thumb solution for strafing.
That's what I was kind of noticing. I had played a little bit of Elite Dangerous. It didn't capture my attention too long, but I had jumped into it just with the keyboard, and I was like, no, no, I can't do this. Yeah. And like, Star Citizen is a lot more forgiving. Like, if you have a mouse and keyboard, you're gonna play it just fine. Yeah. It breaks immersion for me, personally, but Elite Dangerous is not even playable with a mouse and keyboard.
It's an interesting idea that always pops in my head. One of these days, there might actually be a digital representation of a mouse and keyboard in space, and that might be how we actually, because I know that they've actually been able to, there's a certain experiment I remember, and it actually allows you to push light with a hologram. There's like you can actually feel light somehow, and I remember seeing that, and I'll have to look that up for you at one point or another. But you actually have a tactile sense of a hologram that's hitting your hand, so you can actually feel light. And so it'll be interesting. It'll be mouse and keyboard, flying your ship around in space, and everybody look at a flight stick, and they'll be like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah, what does that do? You just
it's like
you put
it between your legs.
Kind of, yeah.
Man, they really were obsessed back then. Wow, that's kind of primitive, isn't it?
Maybe.
Like what?
I don't know.
Yeah.
So what kind of games do you favor most? Like, I mean, I imagine if when you're really focused on studies, it's hard to make that time. But like, did you come from a gaming background? Like, what did you play before? What do you play now when you're killing time and have?
I play nothing when I'm killing time. I just cry just a little bit. But so
the woes of Alaskan engineering students.
Yeah, exactly. Just sitting out there in the snow. No, so like I was homeschooled, and so like especially like I was pulled out of school in second grade, and my father worked at Dell, and so he was a big computer buff, and so all of my
Are you an Austin girl?
Yeah. Well, that was originally, and then we. Oh, nice.
For a very short period of time as like a tech when I was younger, so.
Yeah, so Dad did a Q&A, and so, well, he like overran that department or whatever, and he brought home like a laptop, and it was the first like prototype that Dell was launching.
You got a Dell.
Yeah. And so it had this game called like what it was like Jazz Ball or something, and I was like, this is amazing. And I'm like 4, and so like, 'cause, it was like back when the laptops were not really a thing; it was just a prototype.
Right.
And he was like, oh wow, she took to the keyboard really well. So he bought me a little like a little desktop computer, and he made sure that it could run games and put a bunch of learning games on it for me. And so when I was super young, that's how I learned. And then he just bought me video games, and there was this one particular game that I played so much that I melted the CD called Battlezone 98, and it is an RTS FPS crossover.
Oh.
So you have to think on your feet. You have to manage your resources. You have to like tell your troops what to do and not die. And like I love that
awesome
so much. So yeah, that was.
Did you ever play Homeworld or Homeworld 2?
No.
Oh my god. You might have to go visit some videos of that on Steam or whatever. There's a mod for it that's been going for over a decade, and they're like on their 10th iteration of it, and it just the engineering / gamer / aerospace in you is just going to, and it's 3-dimensional space RTS, and so the learning curve on that and the camera controls of looking around the battlefield and everything else put it out of range of most gamers, because you really kind of have to have enough love to get through that part.
Right.
But think Ender's Game Battle School, if you've ever read
Oh, okay, yeah. That sounds that sounds really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's old now. Like when I bought it, I picked it up for like $20 in the bargain bin, and that was the best score I still have the original disc, and
that's awesome.
And oh god, that game is amazing. But yeah, they just released a remastered version of it on Steam for like and
who was the publisher? Do you know?
Oh gosh, I'll find out.
Okay, because Rebellion is the one that they just relaunched the Battlezone one. Actually, I found it like 2 days ago, and I'm still like kind of in shock that it exists. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yeah, they remastered it, so I was like, whoa, that's really cool. So I didn't know if it was the same people.
I can't
things.
I can't believe I'm not remembering the Relic Entertainment is the company.
Yeah. So, just to tie in from my sci-fi streak, I never really was into MechWarrior. I hate to admit that. I was into Armored Core. I did enjoy some of the console games. But 2 things. I did send you a link to that hologram. So if you want to check your IMs, you can see that one. That is an interesting read. But also, so can you tell me about any friends, family, anybody that do you have a connection? Do you have a little tight-knit community of people? Are they they've already corrupted you, right? So there we go. So you got friends and family that play or interested in playing?
Oh, in StarCitizen?
Yeah.
So I kind of like my immediate family, no, because they have jobs and they're people, and they have their responsibilities. But a lot of my friends, actually, it's more like, hey, do you like space? And so anytime I meet somebody who's like even remotely a gamer at school, I'm like, hey, you know what? You could be playing, and it's just
StarCitizen.
So that's why I'm like, hey, you should check this out. And yeah, so I do that a lot whenever somebody's like, yeah, I have a gaming rig, and I'm like, oh, really? Okay.
Did you I know the feeling. Did you do the I'm a StarCitizen video that you to submit to CIG? Because they did like 30-second, 45-second, like your name, your handle, what you love about StarCitizen, what you love about the community, and then you end it with I'm a StarCitizen, and you're supposed to record it. Oh my gosh! Like, because you have a YouTube channel, like you do video blogs.
Yeah,
right?
No, I do. I just made that one-off like joke one about
you did a joke one about StarCitizen.
Yeah, that's the whole big one. Yeah, like it was just like this like a whole like space plan thing.
I do know you. I remember that. Yeah, you did the pirate one. Oh my god, that was fantastic. So
yeah.
Without you realizing, that may have been an influence, because like this I'm a StarCitizen thing, I did it as a parody, not as a parody of StarCitizen, because obviously I'm trying to support the game,
right.
But I did it in the homage vein of the most interesting man in the world.
Okay.
Oh my God!
Okay.
From the commercials, right? From the Dos Equis commercials. And do you know who Derek Smart is? Not even worth saying his name on air, but do you know who that is? DS. If not, don't even look him up. Not even worth knowing who he is. He's a douchebag. D is for douche. So he's a big hater on the community.
I think that's an insult to douchebags everywhere.
You're right, actually. So he's a big hater on StarCitizen. Well, he picked up my video when I posted it on Thing and used it as material to trash on StarCitizens. Oh my God, I won the internet that day. To piss in that man's Cheerios is like winning an Emmy. It's like winning at life. I don't know anything. Like it was anyway. So I will link you the ridiculousness, and you can laugh at just how stupid and ridiculous and dorky I am because
absolutely.
Oh dear Lord. Anyway, what have I drug her into? This poor person.
Anyhow.
So what are you looking forward to the most in the next scheme of patches that we know about currently?
The thing that I look forward to with each new patch is actually seeing because I'll look up on YouTube because obviously I only have 3 ships, so I'll look up walkthroughs of new ships when they launch and when they're there in the hangar.
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of what I look forward to because that's what makes it kind of real. Is it's just like, oh look, it's got a seat and it moves, and it's just really exciting. And so
and it's got a coffee holder.
Yeah, it's got some stuff in it, and so that's what I love that kind of stuff. And that's what so anytime that they launch anything like that, that's what I look forward to the most. There's little things that I probably would look forward to if I could actively play the game, right. But the hangar is mostly all I really get access to, because again, I'm a little busy now, and so that is just the new ships. I really like the ships, obviously.
So why Alaska? It's good school, but I guess, right? So where you were you I feel like going into the cold?
What it is? No, it's got to do with the fact that normally she would be an athletic person that would be all stoked about going outside and running, but she knew that she needed to be a dedicated and humble book nerd. So she went to the place that was the darkest, coldest, snowiest environment on the planet, next to Derek Smark's armpit, and she decided to study there.
Yep,
and there she will be for the next of her days. She's going to have to roll a D20, perfect 20, natural 20 to get out.
I've never actually rolled a perfect 20, so that's going to be a while.
No. I'd tell you his nickname, but I don't think I should. But it's still funny.
Oh, dice failure. Yeah. That's my handle.
Oh. But, I moved up here just to help a friend. Really? Actually, it was very temporarily. Her husband was going into the military, and so she was like, I don't want to be alone here because obviously it's dark and cold. And I was like, sure, I'll move up there. And then I just kind of got stuck. So that's why happened.
See?
No, hey, good for you. I've moved around for friends, and it's important to care enough, and I just recently separated from the military last year, so that's why this ridiculous beard that I have growing in right now is just past a year old. It's super scraggly and it's awesome. And but yeah, the life of military and military spouses is a pretty tough one. So and exactly like Alaska, you're away from all that sun, and that can be a pretty depressing place to be.
And
so
she lived specifically she lived up in the mountains, so she didn't even have the benefit of living on base. Wow. So she didn't have anybody around her. She lived up in the mountains, and it was kind of cool, especially when I first got there, because you don't think of living on a mountain as being weird, but then you walk outside and there's clouds rolling over you.
Wow.
Because there's clouds, and it's just like, oh right, we're on a mountain, okay. And so it was kind of surreal, because I'd walk outside and I'm like, oh, it's hailing, because it's cloud and it's just moving through, and then. So yeah, that's why.
That high.
Yeah, basically, it was just like, oh god. But and so that's why she wanted somebody, because she didn't have the benefits of the base at that time, and
so is she still there, or
no? They moved to California. He got stationed there. So
what branch?
He is in the Air Force.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So, something about motocross? What is this? Tell us
Yeah.
more.
No, so I used to race motocross.
Awesome.
I'm a gearhead. I really like engines.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
the cheapest way of getting into any kind of anything to do with engines really is motocross. And so my dad was like, yeah, you could learn. And so I think it was like I was like 11 or 12, and he bought me a bike, and he's like, go for it, and got me a few lessons. And I just took off. Basically, like the reason I started racing is because I was 11. They put me on this tiny Yamaha, and there's this
Mhm.
thing called bunny hops, right? And so the
Yeah.
bike bunny hops and then hits and then hits and then hits, and you're hitting the back tire. And the trainer, she was just like, yeah, the bike you're on won't be able to bunny hop. We're not really doing that for you right now. All you need to do is you just need to roll over it and learn the throttle. And I didn't know what I was doing because it was the first time on the bike, and I bunny hopped it all the way across, not knowing that that's what I was doing, because I had basically kind of lost control of the throttle. And she's like, well, all right, I guess you're gonna start racing then, because like you got the bike to bunny hop. Okay, and so they bought me a big motocross bike, and I started racing, and it's a lot of fun. I miss it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there's no motocross in Alaska?
No, actually, not really. There's not. I mean, there's ATVs, but I won't touch a four wheeler.
Really?
No, they flip too easy. They
Okay.
flip way too easily for me. Just, I mean, people normally they're fine with it,
Right.
but I like to jump things, and so
Sure.
I know that I would end up flipping it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so ATVs, no, but the ATVs are big up here. What's really big up here though are like small planes. Like that's kind of the thing, and hiking, like that's it. And since I'm not rich, so planes are kind of out of the question,
Right.
and it's just hiking. So
Get yourself a cheap glider.
yeah, just a
Oh yeah,
little.
Just
cheap. Uh-huh.
just like a little aeroglide, just like
She
meow, like
she
it's like
she has a
I don't
cheap
know,
she has a
but
cheap
but
glider. It's
she's
called an
getting
Avenger.
Yeah,
she is getting an engineering degree. She can probably eventually at some point
At
know
some
exactly
point.
what she needs to do to make a weed eater and a tarp work.
yep.
Okay,
That's MacGyver training.
yeah, see,
Fourth year.
So
duct tape,
no
bubble
no
gum.
no replacement adrenaline activities out there, huh?
No, not really.
No
That's
no no
that's kind of why I did.
bear riding or
No, I mean,
Got a bull
when I
riding. Sure.
was in the mountains, there were bears, a lot of bears in the mountain when I first moved up there. I was like, oh, okay, I'm just walking outside and there's a black bear and moose. And so it's like, oh, okay, this is all right. And the black bear
So
kind of just goes like this, like 'cause they don't care. Like they're digging into the trash. They don't care about you, so they just kind of like sit there and do their thing. And it's like, oh, so this is Alaska, Like I thought they were jokes. I thought she was
right.
joking when she wasn't joking at all.
nope, afraid
Nice.
not.
So yeah.
So any crazy local food? Like what's are you a foodie? Are you just
No.
no?
I'm not a foodie. There's actually not really like eateries and stuff like that's not big here. It's not when
Really?
you come to Alaska, you're coming for just basically fish and chips. That's kind of like you're
The
coming for the
thing.
fresh fish.
Okay.
And so like you want fish burgers, you want like anything to do with fresh fish because they get it from the bay.
Right.
And so like that's what you're going for. And I don't eat fish. So like I just it's
So no
gross.
Not
burger
a
joint
big
No.
around anywhere.
seafood
No.
person. Yeah.
No, because I was born and raised in Texas, so like we're like Angus beef, like that's our thing. But
Right, beef.
yeah, no fish for me.
Wow.
I lived in Japan for a couple of years, and I'm not a huge seafood person either. And but luckily they had a lot of other really amazing foods. So I didn't eat a lot of their fresh fish, and I probably should have. It was probably a missed opportunity, but I can sympathize a bit. So although I do like fish and chips, oddly enough.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, like I like some fish. Like I felt like there was a point in my life where I was like, fish is pretty important to your diet. Like omega-3s, blah blah blah. I should eat more fish. And so I've tried to break down my dislike of it because as a rational choice, but I'm still always kind of skeptical about seafood.
I see,
Like
yeah.
even when it's good,
Aye,
some
aye, aye.
some of the most delicious meals I've ever had, like when I was in Thailand. Um, oh my god, I don't even know what it was, but it was amazing, and it was fish. And
You can't pronounce it, but
but-
it's
but it doesn't change the fact that if you asked me if I wanted it, immediately my brain would go to the no, I
Nah.
don't. But then, like,
No.
if I get past that, I can usually find something I like. So it's weird, stupid brains.
So I just learned something new. We're all three dislikers of fish.
Oh, nice.
That's an intriguing. I've never thought. I thought that I was just like the weird guy that lived by the Mississippi River that didn't eat, catfish. Yeah,
That sounds like an org name. No fish.
catfish.
No fish.
There.
Yes.
That's the worst part. My last name. Oh my goodness.
Oh, that's
Oh
true.
boy.
Pretty
Oh
good
boy.
jokes.
I do, and it's actually an English heritage thing. It's my ancestors in England owned fisheries, and so that's where I get my namesake.
Nice.
But yeah, that's. I just never cared to fish. It's like I didn't like to eat it. I find it to be the most boring sport in the world. And it's like, and somebody's like, "Well, why don't you go deer hunting?" It's okay. You're shooting at a really fast cow. Like that's not really my idea of sport either. And so I've contemplated it, and I think that I might go crossbow hunting after boar or wild hog. But
Oh
beyond
yeah,
that,
those are dangerous though.
Yeah, don't get killed.
that's the idea.
Yeah.
Don't get killed. Don't get killed. Don't get killed. I'll just come back covered in pig's blood and like tusk and everything. I'll be
Haven't
good.
you seen Game of Thrones? That's how
Yeah.
you'll die.
Oh god.
But that's the thing about it. Haven't you seen like was it Black Sheep? That's how they nearly got ran off the road by the deer that came back to life. Obscure movie reference. Take
Yeah.
27. See, deer are dangerous too. There you go. As a matter of fact, I hit one the other day. That was a wonderful thing. Thank God we will not hit deer in space.
Wow.
Yes. No.
Oh
space.
yeah, you say that, but
It's
Yeah,
going to be
you've had
who
space
knows
deer.
Great,
what's
great.
in those nebulae?
The April Fool's
Space deer.
The April Fool's pack is going to be space bucks. They're just going to be space bucks and space does, just running around everywhere behind
Yep.
asteroids, looking at
Exactly.
the heads and like hiding again.
So
I could see that.
So being as you're from Austin, and the Austin studio is one of CIG's, when are you ever going to be coming back out? Because you could always go and visit. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for it if they ever wanted me to come visit. That would be a lot of fun, actually.
I think
because I got into StarCitizen. Yeah, okay. So I'll just say, hey.
Do it.
Yeah, okay, I should. That would be a lot of fun. Because I hadn't thought about it before, because I actually got into StarCitizen after I moved to Alaska. So it was like one of those things where I was just like, oh, I just moved from okay. And so it's kind of one of those.
Hey,
Dear Space, no!
I just want to let you know that Disco Lando just said, I'm here to formally announce
Oh, no.
Deer in Space confirmed.
Confirmed.
There you go.
Oh, no.
There you go.
Fantastic.
Great.
Correct.
Yeah. No, so
Shit.
like it was frustrating to me because I was in Japan when CIG kind of kicked off, and I found out about StarCitizen, and so I find out they're in the Austin office, and I've lived in Austin a couple of different times, and mostly from the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but I've Austin's my soul. That's if I had to pick, and
Right.
keep Austin weird. Anyway, and and so the
Like you need help, man.
So it was super frustrating. I'm like, this is bullshit. I'm in Japan, in military service. I can't come back right now, you bastards. And they're doing all these like awesome get-togethers and like impromptu conventions and anyways.
That's how I felt. I was like, oh, just the one time it's not like all in California. It's like
Right.
I'm not there, so
Right.
I feel you.
Yeah.
But and it's funny though. Like I'm back in Dallas-Fort Worth now. So like now that I'm out of service and and settled back in, I'm trying to be more involved in the community. So I'm leading. Me and another guy have been putting on Bar Citizens here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Nice.
And Austin has a really great Bar Citizen team too, and of course the studio's right there, so the devs come out. So
that's fun.
even
Okay.
if you don't go on the studio tour, if you end up settling back, in hometown-ish, there's a lot of stuff going on. So
I just got accepted into the mechanical engineering program at UTD. So I'll actually be in Dallas.
Nice.
Yeah.
UTD. Yeah. I might be going there at some point. We'll see. I have aspirations as well, but Oh man, I'm gonna have to do like you, where I just like put this aside for a while to. When I first got back from the military, I jumped into classes right away full time,
Oh,
and my sweetheart, she was still in Japan, and then her coming back and me going to school full time and us trying to like find a place, find a jobs, do, oh my god, it was a wreck. And I was like, nope, taking a break. So I haven't restarted back down those paths, but mine's more biochemistry is where I want to go.
oh, neat.
So
Awesome.
yeah, we'll see. Who knows? And the other tantalizing thing is that, like, CIG and Star Citizen is such, like, it's so involving that I kind of, like, I've always dabbled with the idea of wanting to get into game design or being a part of game development, and I've always put it off because I'm like, no, I have other aspirations that are more ambitious. I'll do these other things. And then now it's like, we could move to Austin. I mean, this lease that we got's only a couple of years. I mean, a year more. I mean, we could move to Austin. I could, I don't know, man, but I mean, at the same time, I want to play. I don't necessarily want to design it. I want to play.
Right. Yeah. Because there is like that whole when it becomes your job. Oh, like
Right.
it's like, oh man.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
But I mean, you're building. I don't know. It is
Yeah,
pretty.
you're building what you're passionate about.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
I mean,
just-
because that's why I got into engineering, because I was
Right.
like, yeah, space boats. I want them to be real. So
Yes.
Like-
Well, you do that because I support that. You
Trying.
keep on with your bad self, you STEM
maybe
girl.
no space deers though.
No, I'm sorry. Disco said it's confirmed. Space deer.
Well, yeah, but not for reals. I'm not going to invent them. So if he wants to invent them for the real space.
Well, when they get
Yeah.
the EM drive up and running, and we can
Yeah.
we can fold quantum space and move to far distant locations in the galaxy or galaxies, then who knows what we'll run into?
Yeah,
Some
exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I'm totally off track. All right, Vaedrin, you ready to close this out, brother?
I always like to ask people those wonderful things. Got to have those 5 little doodads that we do every night, every time. And then we've also got to. I always tack on that 6th one. Is there anything that you would like to ask us? So Tequila, we'll go ahead and start with that one. Tequila, would you like to ask us anything?
Oh, okay.
If you had to ask us a question.
If you had life, the universe, everything, what's the answer? No. But Star Citizen.
42.
Nice. Yes. So Star Citizen, what brought both of you, like what
Ooh, what's our
captured you
story?
about it? Yeah.
Vaedrin
Traz?
first. Oh, really? You asked the question. I gotta go first. All right, sure. Okay, so I when I grew up playing games and PC games with my dad, I guess like MechWarrior was a little bit too much, too expensive, required too high end of a system. But you always heard these stories of these guys with like dual sticks, the full simulation kind of experience. And so I missed all of that. When Wing Commander and those games came out, I guess I don't remember what was going on in my life, but it was between gaming or whatever. And so I missed those. So I ended up playing, but I grew up playing Descent 1, 2, and 3. I grew up playing Descent Free Space, which was very kind of like Wing Commander in the sense that it was like, space, flying through space off of the deck of a, capital ship, running missions and things like that. And I love those games. Homeworld was another big influence. Any of those games that, really lit up my imagination. But I'd always regretted that I'd missed out on the Wing Commanders because they just looked awesome, right? And so here I'm in the military. My barracks mate across the hall from me, he was a big computer gamer too. He came over and said, hey, this game's coming out, Star Citizen. And my first impression was, that's a crappy name. I'm like, Star Citizen? That doesn't evoke excitement.
I'm a Star Citizen.
Hey, the thing is it makes sense now because now it's not about making the player the one-off hero the way if you played like SWTOR or one of those games where every character's the hero. This is you're literally kind of you're only what you make of yourself within this universe, so it makes sense. but but I understand it more now. Anyway, so my buddy introduced me to it, and I was like, oh, well, tell me about it. He's like, oh, the guy who made Chris Robertson. I'm like, who's that? And he's like, oh, the guy who made Wing Commander. I'm like, I know Wing Commander. I always wanted to play that. That sounds cool. And he showed me, some of the material, the pitch video, and I was like, oh, that sounds really good. But I'd been burnt on MechWarrior Online because I'd been a big alpha backer for MechWarrior Online. I had met the devs in the voice chats, and we'd heard their promises and what they wanted to do. And then, once the game went live, publisher demands more profits, so we're gonna fuck that. We're gonna go with third-person view anyway. And and so like I kind of got burned there. I'd had the same kind of experience with Terra, which was this like really pretty but very, very Asian-oriented MMO. And I'd hoped that would be like a really pretty world. And I was like, oh, well, even if the gameplay's not that great, it's supposed to be a live-action fighting game where like it's kind of like you were talking about the first-person shooter mixed with RTS. It was supposed to be an MMO, but instead of just pushing buttons and you're hitting your target if you're close enough, it was like you actually had to make your cuts and attacks and things like that. And then when the game came out, it was really all you had to do is keep your cursor on them. And then you're still activating your abilities. Okay. I'm like, Guild Wars 2 did a better job of making it feel interactive, but Guild Wars 2 was stupid easy. So it was not gratifying to play. There was no challenge.
Right.
Anyways, because they had to reach a mainstream audience, they had to compromise and homogenize their gameplay in order to reach a bigger audience and capture. And anyway, so it sucked. So again, like basically I'd been betrayed after one after another. And what other was it? MWO, it was Terra, it was there was one other game. Oh, like Planet Side 2. Again, like I'd back that pretty heavily.
Oh, yeah.
And it's gotten better since, I hear, but I just never gone back to it. But so I'm playing in all of these alphas and betas and whatever, and I just burned out. So like I held off on StarCitizen. I did not back in the Kickstarter because I was like, I don't know. And then they moved to their external site. So I transferred my account because I had the account made. I just hadn't bought anything yet. And I sat on it. I think I went on mission, and I came back, and I was looking over it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to do this. So then here's the thing is I couldn't pick between the Hornet and the Freelancer because I'm like, I'm a good dog fighter in any game I play. I've always been capable in PvP. However, I know that the way I'd want to play the game long term would be more like Han Solo, Boba Fett-ish, like, doing missions and being more a part of the like more immersive part of the world, like come from a role-playing background. I like having different characters that have different backgrounds and so on and so forth. And I couldn't pick. And they're both like $110. So I was like, oh, that's so expensive. I've already spent that on other games and been disappointed. I don't know. So I hemmed and hawed about it. Waited another couple of weeks. Came back again. I was like, I'm going to decide today. Going to do it. So I'm looking. I'm like, well, I wonder what's the next big, what's the pledge above the 110? So I go and I look, and that's the Constellation, right? And I'm like, $275. Well, what do they take me for? That's a small fortune.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. What the hell? I'm like, that's just ridiculous. And I'm looking through it, and it's like, oh, it's 3 to 5 people. Oh, that's the group size I enjoy playing with the most. I mean, I've led raids of like 150 people. I mean, I can do that. I've done that. It's fun. It's gratifying, but it's also not. I like flying in a small group. That's my favorite style. And it's got 2 turrets that you climb into, one up, one down, kind of like the Millennium Falcon. And by the way, did we mention that this is the flagship of the game? That's Chris Roberts' favorite? Did we also mention that this is this universe's Millennium Falcon equivalent? And I was like, money, here you go.
Just take it.
Oh, I was like, you bastards, why would you say that? And so that was it. So my first pledge was a freaking Rear Admiral, and then it just went downhill from there, because then I was like, well, what if I'm alone? I would need a single-seater, wouldn't I? I guess I'll get a Hornet. Well, what if it's just me and a buddy? I guess I'll need that Freelancer after all. So it just like keeps going, exactly. Oh, God damn it. But, Vaedrin, story time. Go.
Oh, boy. So I didn't actually have the luck and privilege of getting to know the Wing Commander series. I've always enjoyed sci-fi games, and one of my first games was Space Quest. Outpost. These are old DOS games that you had to load up using the dreaded 5 1/4 floppy disk. So my video gaming goes way back. My computer video game goes way back. The thing that drew me to Star Citizen, though, was an obscure little game that I had managed to just find a copy of floating around in Pirate Bay, and it was named Freelancer, and I absolutely loved this little bitty game, and I seen what it could have been, and it was everything that I wanted in a game, but it was also very stripped. I was reading on in Wikipedia because I'm a big Wikipedia nerd. Everything that I can think of to look up, I look up on Wikipedia, and I looked up Freelancer on it, and I learned that the person that was the main driving force behind it did not get to make the game to his vision. He, excuse me, he was bought out. He had managed to sell Digital Anvil to Microsoft, and he became a consultant. Well, this person later on would become known to me as Chris Roberts. He also made The Punisher, and I'm sitting here looking at the movies he's made. I'm looking at the games that he's made, and I knew what Freelancer was, and I knew how much I liked it. And so I said, if I liked that game this much, I could definitely throw in some money to this. So I bought my first package. It was an Aurora LN, and from there it just kind of snowballed into something else. It's there's so much more to the game. There's this community wrapped around the game that's actually wanting to see this push, because we're made up of a very select few amount of people. We're made up of, say, these people that are dissatisfied with what the gaming industry has become. Everything is about the latest Assassin's Creed 17 or the latest Call of Duty, or when the PlayStation 1 and 2 was hot, the Medal of Honor. Everything is always this further story arc iteration. Here you pay $50 and you get to hear a little bit more of this montage huge story that we're telling you slowly, piece by piece, one part at a time. And I realized that everything has, in the gaming industry, for the most part, become a Warcraft expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked Warcraft. It was a wonderful game, but I realized that I wanted to do more. I wanted to be able to leave a ship. I didn't want to be stuck in one mode like a top-down Galaga iteration. I didn't want to be stuck in a first-person view with scene changes. Well, I mean, that's the thing that you're stuck with in Freelancer, is you're in the ship, controlling the ship by your mouse, and you get to see your character Trent, but he doesn't really move. You click on people and they go and talk. He was supposed to be a person that actually was able to walk around. You were supposed to be able to explore these cities. And so when I say Galaga, I mean that I'm stuck in this ship and I can never get out of it. That I am basically the ship. I am not actually Trent. So this is the thing that sold me. I can get in my ship, fly out in space, EVA, whatever. Go and then get back into my ship. Go full throttle, get out of the chair while still in full throttle, leave the ship, have my ship blow something up, steal somebody else's ship, run around. I have this unlimited amount of modes that I can go through. 1 minute I'm in the ship, the next minute I'm a person, the next minute I'm on a planet. I mean, give me a jet ski. That's the only thing that's missing. Give me that.
Quick question. So we were talking about motocross. What do you think about the Drake Dragonfly?
Oh, it's awesome. I loved it. I saw it like for the first time, like time. Like I'd heard about it, but it was the most recent CitizenCon video, and they were just playing. I got really excited, but I really liked the little rover that they had for Constellation 2. Those little ATVS thing. Yeah, I was excited about that, but then I saw that particular vehicle, and I was like, this is really neat. And then it flew out into space, and I was excited. So.
I like that. That's awesome.
Is it a skimmer, though? Is it going to float above the surface? Is that what it's doing? Or is it going to actually sink in the water? It would be my luck. I would fly over a lake of magnetic mercury, and I just sink and then be stopped.
Yeah,
it would
sink right in.
All right, I think it's about time. You ready for the rapid fire?
All right.
She says sure.
Do it.
All right, flight control of choice.
What do you mean?
If you had to
HOTAS.
pick a flight, okay, so absolutely HOTAS.
Flight
Favorite
control,
flyable ship and weapon loadout.
Weapon loadout doesn't matter. Flyable ship Avenger.
Most anticipated game
The
mechanic.
penguin.
Putting people in the people pods.
Favorite way of earning wreck.
People pods and space deer. You heard it
Favorite
here
way
first,
to earn.
guys.
I don't think I haven't earned any yet.
You haven't earned any yet. Okay.
No.
Next ship you will buy or melt for if you had to get.
Ooh, not melt, but Cutlass maybe. If not Cutlass, then actually I am really interested in the just the constellation Phoenix because it looks really cool. So I was like, ooh.
What if they came up with if they came up with a Genesis prison transport, would you be interested?
Yes, that would be my jam because I really liked that the airplane one.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they had one that was just for that would be great actually.
The Cutlass was my my sweetheart's first ship too. So and it's one of my favorites. Like I'm really looking forward to the rework, which apparently they've started. Like that was in the monthly report too. We didn't touch on it.
Oh, okay.
The Cutlass reworks are now ongoing, so definitely don't forget to check. Shut up. Whatever, pirate pants. So definitely check your buybacks and see if it's an option because you it may be on the list, you know. So
yeah.
Anyways,
I'm gonna have to now.
All right, folks. I believe that is a wrap up. Is there any last questions, comments, opinions, or otherwise ill-fated things that you want to say towards me? Get it out your system before you see me next week.
She gave
Okay.
you finger guns, so I think you're good to go.
Bam, 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 bam. Okay. Okay. So excellent as always. You keep shooting me, so it is a blast to have you with us tonight. And thanks for coming on to the show. I'm glad that you were able to make the time. It was kind of she's 2 hours away in Alaska, and then she's in college, so it's like window.
Yeah.
Right. Of course.
Well, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Well, that's
Pleasure
awesome.
having
you. Yeah. In addition to our wonderful guest, hosting with us, I'd like to thank our listeners, and we appreciate your time with Station42. Look forward to any feedback that you leave us, including that my mic is low. I'm sorry, guys. It's a technical problem I'm having with OBS. I'm sorry. I'll figure it out someday.
Little violin over here.
Mm-hmm.
I like being able to be heard. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you, everyone. We will see you next week.
All right, time to feed another hobo to the quantum drive. Watch out for those space deer. Oh, God, the people pods! The people pods!
I think, hey, can she unwrap another fresh hobo? The last one we had kind of stung.
All right, we're going out with music.
Yep.
Now's the time to dance. If you can't hear it, it doesn't matter. It's going. So it's nice and
Yeah,
low
pretty
and
much.
rolling. It's my jam. Vaedrin's jam. He's our musical master.
I have no idea what we're dancing to, and I don't know if I'm on the quarter note. I hope to God I'm right.
Well, I guess that's going to be it. All right, folks, we will see you next week. Thanks for spending your time with us. Pasta linguine. I can't even say that right.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. I was saying pasta bene. Oh, never mind. Whatever. It's a Boba Fett
Yeah.
joke.
Yeah.
Good
Okay.
night, everyone. Good night. Station 42.